The rooftop bar was the kind of place where successful people came to pretend they weren't checking their phones every 30 seconds. I sat at a corner table with a view of the elevator, nursing a bourbon I hadn't really wanted, listening to Margaret Fletcher talk about her husband's new routine. "He's been staying late at the office 3 times a week," she said, swirling her wine. "Always Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, like clockwork." I'd known Margaret for 6 years. Our kids played soccer together. Our families did barbecues every 4th of July. She was smart, funny, the kind of person who never complained about anything. Until last week, when she'd called me at work, voice shaking. "I need your help, Daniel," she'd said. "Something's wrong." Now she sat across from me, dressed in business casual, looking like she was barely holding it together. "And you're sure about the hotel?" I asked. "His credit card statement. The Riverside Grand, 3 charges in the past 2 weeks, always around 7 p.m. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I checked my watch, 6:47 p.m. We'd arrived early, positioned ourselves where we could see everyone coming and going. My phone buzzed. A text from my wife, Jennifer. "Meeting a client at a hotel rooftop bar. Might run late. Don't wait up for dinner." I stared at the message. "Daniel?" Margaret's voice seemed to come from far away. "You okay?" I looked up at her, then at the elevator doors across the room. "What's your husband's name again?" "Patrick Fletcher." "Why?" "What does he do?" "He's in commercial real estate, development projects mostly. Why are you asking?" My heart was doing something strange in my chest. Jennifer was an architect, specialized in commercial properties. She'd mentioned a new client last month, someone working on a major downtown development. "Margaret," I said carefully, "does Patrick ever mention the names of people he works with?" "Sometimes. There's his business partner, Tom, and he's mentioned working with some woman architect recently." She stopped. Her eyes went wide. "Oh no. Daniel, what—" The elevator doors opened. My wife stepped out first. She was wearing the navy dress I'd complimented that morning, her hair down the way she knew I liked it. She was laughing at something, her hand touching her neck in that unconscious gesture she made when she was nervous or excited. Then Patrick Fletcher stepped out behind her. He was tall, fit, probably mid-40s. Good suit. Confident smile. His hand rested on the small of Jennifer's back as they walked toward the hostess stand. Margaret made a sound like she'd been punched. "That's him," she whispered. "That's Patrick." I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I watched my wife of 12 years, the mother of my 2 children, let this man guide her to a table by the window. Watched her sit down, lean forward, say something that made him laugh. "What do we do?" Margaret asked. I thought about walking over there, making a scene, demanding explanations. But something stopped me, some instinct I couldn't name. "We wait," I said. "We watch." For the next hour, we sat in our corner, partially hidden by a decorative screen, and watched our spouses have what looked like the best time of their lives. They ordered drinks, appetizers. Patrick reached across the table twice to touch Jennifer's hand. She didn't pull away. Margaret was crying silently, wiping her eyes with her napkin. "I should have known," she said. "All the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them." I felt numb, hollow. Jennifer was showing Patrick something on her phone. Probably design plans, I thought bitterly, her professional excuse. But there was nothing professional about the way she was looking at him. At 8:15, they paid their bill and stood up. Patrick said something close to Jennifer's ear. She nodded, blushing. They didn't head for the elevator. They walked toward the hallway that led to the hotel rooms. "They're not leaving," Margaret said, her voice breaking. "They're staying. They're actually—" "I see it." We watched them disappear down the corridor. I counted to 60, then stood up. "What are you doing?" Margaret asked. "I'm going to find out which room." "Daniel, maybe we should—" "Stay here. Order another drink. I'll be back." I followed the path they'd taken, my legs moving automatically. The hallway branched off toward the guest room elevators. I reached them just as one set of doors was closing. Through the narrowing gap, I saw Jennifer's navy dress. The floor indicator climbed 7, 8, 9, 10. It stopped at 10. I took the stairs, needed the time to think, to plan. By the time I reached the 10th floor, I was breathing hard, but my head was clearer. I pushed through the stairwell door and found myself in a quiet, carpeted corridor. There were only 6 rooms on this floor, premium suites. I walked slowly, listening. At room 1004, I heard voices, a man's laugh, a woman's lighter response. I stood outside that door for maybe 3 minutes, long enough to hear Jennifer say something about being careful, long enough to hear Patrick respond that his wife thought he was at a construction site inspection, long enough to understand that this wasn't their first time. I went back downstairs. Margaret was where I'd left her, staring at nothing. "Room 1004, I said. "I heard them talking. This isn't new." She nodded slowly. "So what now?" "Now we get proof, and then we decide what we're going to do about it." I didn't sleep that night. Jennifer came home around 11, smelling like expensive hotel soap. She kissed my cheek, said the client meeting had gone well, asked about the kids. I responded with the right words, kept my face neutral. She fell asleep next to me within minutes, exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with architectural plans. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, calculating. The next morning, I called in personal days at work. I was a senior project manager at a software company. I had the flexibility, the trust. My boss barely asked questions. Margaret and I met at a coffee shop across town. "I hired someone," she said, sliding a business card across the table. "A private investigator. He specializes in infidelity cases." I looked at the card. Richard Morrison, licensed PI, a downtown address. "How much?" 2,000 retainer. He says he can get us photos, timeline, everything we need within a week. That's too long. "Daniel, we need to be smart about this. If we're going to file for divorce, we need documentation." I shook my head. "I'm not waiting a week. I'm going back to that hotel tonight." "What are you going to do?" "Whatever I have to." That evening, I told Jennifer I had a poker game with the guys. She didn't question it. I had a monthly game that ran late. She was relieved, actually. Said she had paperwork to catch up on. I knew what that meant now. I parked across from the Riverside Grand at 6:30. Margaret texted that she couldn't come. She had to stay home with their daughter. I understood. Part of me was relieved. This felt like something I needed to see alone. At 7:05, Patrick's BMW pulled up. Valet parking. At 7:12, Jennifer's sedan arrived. Also valet. They met in the lobby, carefully not touching where security cameras could see. Then they headed for the elevators. I waited 5 minutes and followed. This time I was prepared. I'd bought a decent camera that afternoon, nothing professional but good enough. And I'd called ahead, booked room 1006 under a fake name, paid cash. 2 doors down from where they were. I let myself into my room, set up the camera on a tripod by the window. The angle gave me a partial view of their door, not perfect, but something. Then I sat and waited. An hour passed. 2. I ordered room service, forced myself to eat, checked my phone obsessively. The kids had texted, homework questions, requests for video game time. I responded like everything was normal. At 9:30, I heard their door open. I moved to my peephole, camera ready. They emerged, looking relaxed, happy. Jennifer was wearing her clothes, but her hair was different, pulled back instead of down. Patrick had his tie loosened. They kissed in the hallway, a long, familiar kiss that made my stomach turn. I got 12 photos before they separated and headed for the elevator. That night, Jennifer came home smelling like that same hotel soap. She climbed into bed, curled against me like nothing was wrong. "How was poker?" she asked, already half asleep. "Lost 200, I said. "Bad beats all night." Sorry, honey." She was asleep in seconds. I extracted myself carefully and went downstairs. Opened my laptop, downloaded the photos from the camera. The images were clear enough. Timestamps, location metadata, everything a lawyer would need. I called Margaret. "I got pictures," I said, "of them leaving the room together, of them kissing in the hallway. Daniel." Her voice was thick. She'd been crying. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know yet, but I'm going to that investigator tomorrow, and I'm going to find out everything." Richard Morrison's office was above a dry cleaner, the kind of place you'd never notice unless you were looking for it. He was maybe 60, gray hair, tired eyes that had seen everything. I showed him the photos. "How long has this been going on?" he asked. "I don't know. I just found out 2 days ago." "And you want what, exactly? Just documentation for divorce proceedings?" "I want to know everything. How long, how often, where they go, what they do. I want a complete picture." He quoted me a price. I paid it. "Give me 3 days," he said. "I'll have a full report." Those were the longest 3 days of my life. I went to work, came home, helped the kids with homework, made dinner, watched TV with Jennifer like our marriage wasn't disintegrating. She was distracted, checking her phone constantly. Twice she had late meetings that ran past 10 p.m. I said nothing, just documented everything: times, dates, excuses. Margaret was falling apart. She called me every night, sometimes crying so hard she couldn't speak. Patrick had stopped even pretending to care about their family. He was barely home, barely present when he was. "I found hotel charges going back 6 months, she told me on day 2. 6 months, Daniel. How did I not know?" "Because we trusted them," I said. "That's what spouses do. I don't know if I can keep living like this, pretending everything's fine. Just 3 more days, then we'll have everything we need." On the 3rd evening, Morrison called. "We need to meet," he said. "Not at my office, somewhere private." We met at a park after dark, sitting in his car. He handed me a folder. "This is worse than a simple affair," he said. "Your wife and Patrick Fletcher have been involved for 7 months. They've been to the Riverside Grand 23 times, but that's not all." I opened the folder. Photos, receipts, timeline documents. "What else?" "They're planning to leave, both of them. I found emails. They're looking at property together, a condo in Portland. They're talking about starting over, new life, all of it." The words hit me like physical blows. "My kids," I said. "She's planning to leave my kids?" "According to the emails, she thinks she can get primary custody. Patrick's pushing for it. He says his current life is suffocating him." I looked through the documentation. Printouts of emails, text messages, even photos of them house hunting together online. "There's more," Morrison said. "Patrick's been moving money. He's got 3 accounts his wife doesn't know about. He's been siphoning funds from their joint accounts for months, building up a nest egg for when he leaves." "Can she use this?" "Margaret? Absolutely. This is financial fraud. She can take him to the cleaners in divorce court." I kept reading. There were texts between Jennifer and Patrick discussing my habits, my schedule, when would be the best time to tell me. They were clinical about it, like I was a problem to be solved rather than a person. "What about my wife?" I asked. "Is she moving money too?" "Not that I can find, but she's been researching divorce lawyers. She's got consultations scheduled for next week." Next week. She was going to blindside me next week. "I need copies of everything," I said. "Already made them. That folder is yours." I drove home in a daze. Jennifer was in the living room when I arrived, watching some home improvement show. "How was your day?" she asked, not looking up from her phone. "Fine," I said. "Productive." I went upstairs, locked myself in the home office, and read through every page of Morrison's report. By the time I finished, it was past midnight. I sat in the dark, thinking about 12 years of marriage, 2 children, a whole life built on what I'd thought was solid ground. Jennifer had been lying to me for 7 months, planning to leave me, planning to take my children and start over with someone else, and she thought she was going to catch me by surprise. I called Margaret. "Did Morrison give you a report, too?" "Yes," she said. "I've been reading it for 2 hours. Daniel, Patrick has been stealing from me, from our daughter. He's been planning this for months." "Are you going to confront him?" "I don't know. My lawyer says I should wait, file papers first, catch him off guard." "That's probably smart." "What about you?" I looked at the report in front of me, all the evidence laid out in neat, damning rows. "I have an idea," I said, "but I'm going to need your help." We met the next morning at a restaurant 30 miles outside town, far enough that we wouldn't run into anyone we knew. "What are you thinking?" Margaret asked. I'd barely slept, but my mind was sharp, focused. "They're planning to blindside us, right? Jennifer's got lawyer consultations next week. Patrick's been moving money. They think they're in control." "Right. So we take that control away. We hit them first, but not in court. Not yet." "I don't understand." I pulled out my phone, showed her the notes I'd made during the night. "They've built this whole fantasy life together. They think they're being so careful, so smart, but they're comfortable, complacent. They think we're clueless. We were clueless. Exactly, which means they won't see this coming." I explained my plan. It took 20 minutes, going through every detail. Margaret listened, her expression shifting from confused to shocked to something like grim satisfaction. "That's devious," she said when I finished. "They've been playing us for 7 months. I think we're entitled to a little deviousness." "When?" "This weekend, Saturday night, one of their regular meeting nights." She nodded slowly. "I'm in. What do you need me to do?" We spent the next 2 hours coordinating, making lists, working out timing. By the time we left that restaurant, we had a detailed plan. I went home and acted normal, helped my son with a science project, threw a baseball with my daughter, made dinner, spaghetti, Jennifer's favorite. She came home at 7, kissed me distracted, picked at her food. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Just tired. Big project deadline coming up." "The downtown development?" She looked up, surprised I remembered. "Yeah, it's been consuming. Your client must be demanding." "He has high standards, but that's good. Pushes me to do better work." I nodded like I believed her. "Will you need to work late this weekend?" "Probably Saturday night. We've got a presentation Monday." "Of course." After dinner, she went upstairs to shower. I heard the water running and checked her phone. She'd left it on the kitchen counter. The screen was locked, but notifications showed 3 messages from P. "Can't wait for Saturday. Getting reservations at that place you liked." After, we should talk about Portland timing. I put the phone back exactly where she'd left it. Friday passed in a blur of preparation. I took another personal day, met with Morrison again, went over final details with Margaret. We were both nervous, running on adrenaline and anger and something darker. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, standing in the parking lot of a storage facility we'd rented. "Are you?" She looked at the boxes we'd loaded, evidence, supplies, everything we'd need. "Patrick destroyed 20 years of my life," she said. 20 years, and he was going to just walk away like it meant nothing. "Then let's make sure he doesn't." Saturday arrived. Jennifer was distracted all day, checking her phone, trying on different outfits. She settled on a black dress I'd never seen before, something new she'd bought and hidden from me. "Special presentation?" I asked. "You know how it is. Got to look professional." "You look beautiful." She smiled, kissed my cheek. "Thanks, honey. Don't wait up." She left at 6. I waited until her car was out of sight, then started making calls. "It's time," I told Margaret. I'm ready. Patrick just left. Okay, I'll see you there. I loaded the car with what we'd prepared, checked my watch, 6:45. They'd be at the hotel by now, getting settled at the bar before heading upstairs. I drove carefully, following the route we'd planned. No speeding, nothing that would attract attention. I arrived at the Riverside Grand at 7:15, parked in the structure across the street. Margaret was already there, sitting in her car on the 3rd level. Ready? She asked through her phone. Ready. We walked into the hotel lobby separately, 3 minutes apart. I went first, checking in under the fake name I'd used before. Same room, 1006. Margaret waited in the lobby, pretending to read a magazine. At 7:35, my phone buzzed. Her text. They just went up. I gave it 5 minutes, then went to my room. Set up the camera again, this time with better angles. I'd practiced this, knew exactly where to place it. Then I went to work. The first part was simple. I'd brought a Bluetooth speaker, tiny thing, barely visible. I placed it in the hallway, in a decorative plant near room 1004. Margaret had the matching one for Patrick's car, which was still in the hotel parking garage. The second part was trickier. I'd bought 2 cheap burner phones that afternoon, set them up with prepaid plans, no personal information attached. At 8 p.m. exactly, I sent the first message. To Jennifer's phone. Hi, this is the front desk. There's been a water leak reported on your floor. Maintenance needs to inspect all rooms. Someone will knock shortly. At the same moment, Margaret sent an identical message to Patrick's phone. We waited. 3 minutes later, I heard movement in room 1004. Voices, confused. The door opened a crack. Patrick checking the hallway. I was in my room, watching through the peephole. He looked both ways, saw nothing wrong, went back inside. That's when I activated the Bluetooth speaker in the hallway. The sound we'd recorded, a crying child, calling for mommy, played at high volume. Patrick's door opened again. He stepped out, looking annoyed and confused. Jennifer appeared behind him. What is that? She asked. Some kid, I guess. Hotel's got families. The crying continued, realistic and persistent. We'd pulled the audio from a YouTube video, edited it perfectly. A real hotel guest opened their door, a middle-aged woman in a bathrobe. Excuse me, she said to Patrick. Is that your child? No, I don't. Well, someone needs to find that baby. That's not right. Other doors were opening now. Guests emerging, concerned, trying to locate the source of the crying. Patrick and Jennifer tried to slip back into their room, but the woman stopped them. Wait, can you help look? That child sounds distressed. They couldn't refuse without looking heartless. Jennifer shot Patrick a worried glance, but they joined the small group of guests checking the hallway. I let it play out for 2 more minutes, then deactivated the speaker from my phone. The crying stopped. Everyone looked confused. The woman in the bathrobe shrugged and went back to her room. The other guests dispersed. Patrick and Jennifer were left standing in the hallway, on edge now, their romantic evening disrupted. They went back inside. That's when we implemented Phase 2. Margaret was in the parking garage next to Patrick's BMW. She activated the second speaker, hidden in his wheel well, which began playing a car alarm sound. Not his actual alarm, just a realistic recording of one. My burner phone sent him a text from the hotel. Security has reported a vehicle alarm going off in the parking structure. License plate, his number. Please check your vehicle. Through my peephole, I watched Patrick emerge again, looking frustrated. I have to go check the car, he told Jennifer. Should I come? No, just wait here, I'll be right back. He headed for the elevators. Margaret texted me. He's coming down. I gave her the signal to move to Phase 3. When Patrick reached his car, he found Margaret standing next to it. I wasn't there to see this part, but Margaret told me later what happened. Hello, Patrick, she said. He froze. Margaret, how did you… 7 months, she said. You've been lying to me for 7 months. I don't know what you're… Room 1004, Jennifer Hartley. The Riverside Grand every Tuesday and Thursday. Should I keep going? His face went white. I'm not here to make a scene, Margaret continued. I'm here to tell you that I know everything. The money you've been hiding, the Portland condo, all of it. Margaret, please, let me explain. Explain to my lawyer. I'm filing Monday morning, and you should know, I've already frozen the joint accounts. Changed the locks on the house. Your things are in storage unit 247 on Route 9. Here's the key. She dropped a key on the hood of his car. I'll have my attorney contact yours, she said, and walked away. Patrick stood there, stunned, for maybe 30 seconds. Then he ran back toward the hotel. Margaret texted me. He's coming back up, looking panicked. Perfect. Patrick burst out of the elevator on the 10th floor. I watched through my peephole as he practically ran to room 1004, fumbling with the key card. He rushed inside. I heard raised voices. Patrick trying to explain something urgent, Jennifer confused and alarmed. Then they both emerged, Patrick pulling Jennifer by the hand toward the elevator. We need to leave, he was saying. Now, something's happened. What? Patrick, what's going on? I'll explain in the car. We just need to go. They rushed past my door. I counted to 10, then slipped out and followed at a distance. In the elevator, I stood at the back while they whispered frantically in the front. Jennifer kept asking what was wrong. Patrick kept saying they'd talk in the car. We reached the lobby. They headed for the exit. I went to the front desk. Excuse me, I said to the clerk. I checked out of room 104 earlier, but I think I left my phone charger. Could you let me back in? Of course, sir. Let me just verify your ID. I showed her the fake ID I'd prepared. Good enough for a quick glance, matching the name on the room reservation. She handed me a key card. Here you go, Mr. Fletcher. I went back upstairs. Room 1004 was a mess. Clothes scattered, champagne glasses on the table, the bed obviously used. I didn't touch anything. Just placed my third surprise. A manila envelope on the pillow. Inside, copies of all the evidence Morrison had gathered. Photos, emails, financial records, timeline, everything. And a note. We know, we've always known. Enjoy your new life in Portland. I left the envelope and the key card, then got out of there. I was home by 9:30. The kids were watching a movie in the living room. Where's Mom? My daughter asked. Work thing ran late. She'll be home soon. At 10:15, Jennifer's car pulled into the driveway. She came through the door looking shaken, pale. Her hands were trembling. Hey, I said from the couch. How was the presentation? It was fine. We finished early. Good. You want some tea or something? You look tired. I'm okay. I think I'm just going to go to bed. She went upstairs. I heard her in the bathroom, water running for a long time. My phone buzzed. Margaret. Patrick came home, grabbed some clothes, and left. Said he needed to think. I told him don't bother coming back. Did Jennifer say anything? Not yet. Playing it cool. Me too. Talk tomorrow. Jennifer didn't come back downstairs. Eventually, I checked on her. She was in bed, lying in the dark, staring at the ceiling. You okay? I asked. Yeah, just a headache. Want some aspirin? No, I just need to sleep. I went to the guest room, claimed I didn't want to disturb her if she wasn't feeling well. Sunday morning, Jennifer was quiet, distracted. She kept checking her phone, but wasn't getting the responses she wanted. Everything all right? I asked over breakfast. Fine, just some work stress. The kids were oblivious, chattering about their upcoming week at school. At noon, Jennifer said she needed to go to the office. Sunday work, she claimed. I'll come with you, I said. Keep you company. No, that's okay. I'll be quick. I insist. The kids can stay here. They're old enough for a couple hours. She looked trapped, but couldn't think of a good excuse. We drove in silence. She directed me to a building I'd never been to before. Not her actual office, I noticed. This isn't your regular building, I said. Different project, different space. I parked, followed her inside. The building was mostly empty on Sunday. We took the elevator to the 4th floor. She led me to a small office, clearly temporary workspace. There were architectural plans on the walls, material samples, the usual tools of her trade, and photos. Photos of the downtown development project, photos of building sites, photos of Jennifer and Patrick standing together at construction sites, smiling. She saw me looking at them. "Daniel, how long?" I asked quietly. "What?" "How long have you been planning to leave me?" She went very still. "I don't know what you're talking about." I pulled out my phone, showed her one of Morrison's photos. Jennifer and Patrick, kissing outside the Riverside Grand. "I found the envelope," she whispered, "in the hotel room." "I know. You've known this whole time? Last night, when I came home?" 7 months, I said. "Margaret and I have known for a week, but you've been doing this for 7 months. She sat down hard in the desk chair. "How did you find out?" "I was at the hotel with Margaret. Completely coincidental. We were there to catch Patrick, and then you walked in." "Oh my God." "We hired an investigator, got all the evidence we needed. Emails, financial records, your plans for Portland. Everything." Jennifer's face crumbled. "Daniel, please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you fell out of love with me? That you found someone more exciting? That you were going to take my kids and start over?" "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" She was crying now, mascara running. "I don't know. It just happened. Patrick and I were working together, spending so much time on this project, and things just developed. I never meant for it to happen. But you let it keep happening. For 7 months. I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted. You knew enough to look at condos in Portland, to research divorce lawyers." She looked up, surprised. "You read my emails?" "Morrison read your emails. I just read his report." "What are you going to do?" I thought about that question. I'd been thinking about it for days, lying awake while she slept next to me, pretending nothing was wrong. "I talked to a lawyer Friday," I said. "Filed papers this morning, actually. You'll be served tomorrow." "Daniel, please. I'm getting primary custody. Your affair, the planning to leave, all of it. It's documented. My lawyer says it's pretty clear-cut." "You can't take my children." "I'm not taking them. You abandoned them. In your emails with Patrick, you called them obstacles." Direct quote. She had no response to that. "The house is mine," I continued. "My name is on the deed. My money paid for most of it. You can fight for assets, but it won't go well for you. Not with the evidence we have." "We?" "Margaret and I. We're both filing. We coordinated." Jennifer laughed bitterly. "Of course you did. So this whole thing last night, the crying, the car alarm, that was you. That was us, getting you both rattled, making sure you knew we were in control now, not you. That's cruel. Crueler than planning to destroy 2 families, crueler than lying to your husband and children for 7 months." She had nothing to say to that. I stood up. "I'm going home to our kids. Our lawyers will be in touch." "Daniel, wait. Can we please talk about this? Really talk?" "We are talking. I'm telling you I'm done. I'm telling you that you broke something that can't be fixed. And I'm telling you that I'm not going to let you pretend this was some mutual decision where we grew apart. This was a choice you made. A series of choices." "What about Patrick? What about him? Is Margaret divorcing him?" "That's between them. But I imagine yes, considering he stole money from her to fund your fantasy life together." Jennifer wiped her eyes. "What am I supposed to do now?" "That's not my problem anymore. Figure it out with Patrick. Start your new life. Just don't expect me or the kids to be part of it." I left her there, sitting in that temporary office, surrounded by the plans for a future that would never happen. Monday morning, Jennifer was served divorce papers at work. Margaret's lawyer served Patrick at his office the same day. The next week was chaos. Patrick tried to call Margaret repeatedly. She blocked his number. Jennifer tried to come home to talk things through. I'd already changed the locks. Her things were packed, waiting in the garage. "You can't just kick me out," she said through the door. "Check with your lawyer," I said. "I can." And I did. She went to stay with her sister. The kids asked questions. I told them Mom and I were having problems, that we were going to live separately for a while. My daughter cried. My son got quiet and angry. I hated putting them through it. But Jennifer had made this choice, not me. Margaret and I talked every day, coordinating our legal strategies. Patrick was fighting the divorce, claiming Margaret had abandoned him. Her lawyer destroyed that argument with one email. The message where Patrick told Jennifer he couldn't wait to finally be free of that burden. He meant Margaret. The judge was not sympathetic. Jennifer tried to negotiate custody. Her lawyer argued she deserved equal time with the children. My lawyer presented the evidence: the affair, the plans to move to Portland, the emails calling the kids obstacles. The judge gave me primary custody. Jennifer got supervised visitation every other weekend. She broke down in court. I felt nothing watching it. 6 weeks after that night at the hotel, I sat in my lawyer's office, reviewing the final settlement terms. "She's getting almost nothing," the lawyer said. 20% of liquid assets, none of the house, no spousal support since she was proven to be at fault. "Are you comfortable with this?" "She made her choice," I said. "These are the consequences." "And you're sure you don't want to negotiate anything more equitable?" "This is equitable. She tried to destroy our family. This is what she gets." Margaret's divorce was similarly lopsided. Patrick fought harder, but the financial fraud was too damning. She got the house, the majority of assets, primary custody of their daughter. Patrick moved to Portland alone. Last I heard, he was working for a smaller firm, making less money, living in a studio apartment. Jennifer found work at a different architectural firm. She sees the kids every other weekend, and they're polite, but distant. They know enough to understand she left, even if they don't know all the details. 8 weeks after everything fell apart, Margaret and I met for coffee. "How are you doing?" she asked. "Managing. Some days are harder than others. You?" "Same. I keep thinking about what I didn't see, how I let it go on so long without knowing. We trusted them. That's not a failure on our part." "I know. Logically, I know that. But still." We sat in silence for a moment. "My lawyer finalized everything yesterday," Margaret said. "It's done. Officially over." "Mine too. 23 days from filing to final decree. Must be some kind of record. When both sides have ironclad evidence, things move fast." "Yeah." She stirred her coffee. "What are you going to do now?" "Focus on the kids. Get back to some kind of normal. You?" "Same. My daughter starts therapy next week. Her counselor thinks she's internalizing too much." "How's she doing with everything?" "Better than I expected. She's angry at Patrick, but handling it. Kids are resilient." "They are." More silence. Comfortable this time. "You know what the weirdest part is?" Margaret said. "I don't miss him. Patrick. I thought I would. Thought I'd be devastated. But mostly I just feel relieved." "I get that. Like the waiting is over." "Exactly." My phone buzzed. A text from my daughter. "Dad, can we order pizza tonight?" I smiled, texted back, "Sure thing." "The kids are adapting," I told Margaret. "That's what matters. Do you think we'll ever trust anyone again, after this?" "Probably. Eventually. Just not them." She nodded. "Patrick sent me an email last week, apologizing, saying he made a mistake." "What did you do?" "Deleted it. Some things don't deserve a response." Jennifer keeps trying to explain herself to me. Every time she picks up the kids, she tries to have the conversation. I just walk away. Good. We finished our coffee. Outside, it had started to rain, light drizzle that made everything gray and soft. "You heading home?" Margaret asked. "Yeah. I told the kids I'd help with homework. I've got to pick up my daughter from soccer practice." We hugged goodbye, awkward at first, then genuine. "Thanks for being there through all this," I said. Right back at you. I couldn't have done it without you. We made a good team. We did. I drove home through the rain, thinking about how my life had changed in just 2 months. How I'd gone from married to divorced, from trusting to suspicious, from comfortable to uncertain. But also how I'd survived, how my kids were still okay, how I'd learned I was stronger than I thought. The house was warm when I got home. The kids were in the living room, arguing about what to watch on TV. "Dad's home," my daughter yelled. "He said we can get pizza." "Can we get extra cheese?" my son asked. Extra cheese it is. I ordered the pizza, helped with homework, watched a movie with them on the couch, one kid on each side of me. Jennifer texted around 8. "How are the kids?" I didn't respond. She texted again at 9. "I know you're still angry. Can we please talk?" I blocked the number. Some conversations aren't worth having. Some people don't deserve second chances. Some endings are exactly what they need to be.